Mr. Smith, I'm in your office, man. You still running for Mayor Gary?
Heck yeah, man. Yes, indeed. We're definitely running. We have 57 days to go until the major election. And Mark, I'm going to tell you, this election is one that's going to alter the direction of urban America, man. So that's how important it is, beginning right here in Gary, Indiana.
Well, Mr. Smith, I'm presumptuous to say Mayor Smith, but Mr. Smith, how are you going to get the people out to vote? That's all I care about. Turnout, turnout, turnout.
Well, here's the thing with people who may not know. My background is I'm a community organizer. I've been organizing since November 20th, 1994. So this November made 21 years of organizing. We knock on doors. We knock on doors because we feel we have something to offer whoever opens the door, from youth to senior citizens to adults. So turnout is easy for us because we have something that relates to that parent, that adult, that 18-year-old. We got something to relate to that senior citizen, which is every Friday. So turnout to me is what we've been about for 21 years, man.
Now, when I rode through Gary, I just rode up Broadway. I didn't see a lot of your signs, man. Do people actually know you're running for mayor?
So here's the deal, and I'm glad you brought that up. Some of the more affluent towns, they have what, everyone has zoning, but they have the aesthetic side of it where they don't allow you to just put your signs up anywhere, any abandoned building, any property. And especially the advertisement companies like Lamar and Wright Advertising, they lose money when people just slap their signs up places. And that's what my opponents are doing. I told my team, I'd rather lose the election as long as we run the election with class and style that we can be proud of than to just be like a typical candidate just slapping our signs up on every abandoned building. I believe in beautifying Gary. I believe we need to show that by example. And even our current mayor, I've seen her signs up all over the place. And that's just not the way Gary needs to look. I believe in beautifying Gary, and I had to lead by example. So my signs will be in people's yards. That's the difference. Yards, vote. The people who live in that house vote, not the people that just see signs slapped up everywhere.
Okay, so but when I went down Broadway, I ain't see your sign. So you know what it is. It's all perception. If people perceive you as strong, they rather. What did Bill Clinton say? People rather vote for somebody wrong and strong than somebody weak and right. Right. So are you projecting the image of strength as a candidate for Mayor Gary?
So people who may not know, I'm a 14-year U.S. Navy veteran. I was an operations specialist. We have a plan, and our plan includes saturation. So we will saturate. We have 57 days to go, so it's a little premature to do the saturation right now. We're saturating door to door, building relationships. When the time is right, and I don't want to give a campaign secret, you will see signs block by block throughout Gary. And the same people who ride down the street seeing this so-called projection of power, when they turn on their block, they're going to see a different projection of power with their neighbors who saying, okay, that's who I'm rolling with as well. So yard signs are much more powerful than what you see out there.
You've been a candidate before in other races.
Yes.
It's all about money. Do you have enough money to win? Because it takes money. The person who wins the mayor's race of Gary is probably going to be the person with the most money. You know that?
No, I totally disagree.
You have enough money to win, though.
Yes, we have enough money, but we need more money. So I don't want to say that. My plan 3 years ago when I decided to run for mayor was to raise and spend $100,000 to win the seat here, $100 grand. So we've already raised $40,000, and so we are $60,000 short of what I said 3 years ago. And I do have a plan to make sure we extract the last $60,000.
Well, public access, you can't ask for donations, but keep going.
No, yeah, I'm not asking the people. The people who I want, they know, and so we're going to be pushing that. But here's the thing with why we want to raise $100,000 and spend it, because the people are hurting. And I think one thing of a good leader is when you can help people meet their needs while asking them to help you along the way. So right now we've given, through our hardship program, we've given out over 43 hardship grants to help people along the way. And that means people who lights was being cut off, gas was being cut off, people who's been locked up, people whose car was impounded. And so it'd be real hard for me if I didn't have money to say, you'll get over that, but help me get elected. It doesn't work like that. You have to help people meet their needs, and that's what our campaign has been able to do with people.
Syron Smith, you've been doing this for 21 years. Now, all the people you have met, all your so-called friends, including me, are they coming over here to Gary? Were they from Indiana, Chicago, Atlanta, Georgia, New York City? Are they coming to Gary to volunteer for your campaign?
So it's two ways of helping. We call it Air Force and Ground Force. What you just described as a ground force, that means you physically on the ground helping us. And no, we won't have people from Atlanta, Detroit, Milwaukee on the ground here, but they will help via Air Force. What I've asked everyone to do is to send us postage stamps. We need to reach 60,000 people. You can do that from Milwaukee. You
don't cross the line now, but you don't cross the line. But you know what I'm saying.
But postage stamps. It's just
okay.
a stamp,
Keep
you know,
going.
because the stamps is a message of why I'm running to the very voters who have to vote.
But you need ground troops, though, man. Where's the people on the ground? You gonna have enough people on the ground?
Yeah, the ground troops. There's 105 precincts, voting precincts here. We have enough people to make sure we have 3 shifts of people. So I feel very comfortable in that regard that we have enough ground troops on the ground covering it. We have to feed the people. We have to make sure the transportation. We got 3 vans patrolling Gary right now, moving people around and getting our message out that side's on your side.
Yeah, the election's November the 3rd. This TV thing is going to run in public access back in the city of Chicago in October. The point is early voting. I never will ever, hopefully never have to vote on November 3rd or November whatever on election day. That is a total waste of time. I don't know who does it. It's about early voting. So are you going to get these people to early vote?
Well, there's two types of voting that should happen before November 3rd. Absentee voting and early voting. So we're going to do both. The current incumbent, she won, of course, but she had 1,248 absentee ballots cast for her. So our goal is to surpass that. We want to do more than that, just so that we can have a symbolism, if you will, of what success looks like 4 years ago. So we're definitely going to target those who are going to do like you do, Mark, and sit at home and vote.
That's
but
right.
we're also going to have the vans moving people back and forth to the early voting for 30 days prior to
No,
election.
vote for home people. Mail in the vote, that's the way to go. But some people do like to cast their vote physically. Early voting, how you going to get people to come out of their house? I can't cross the line with this campaign talk. How you get people to come out of their house, just go a few blocks from their house to early vote?
Here's the deal. I've been meeting people in Delaney and Dory Miller. Those are some of the housing complexes here who told me that they haven't voted since President Obama was elected. And the reason they haven't voted is because they haven't been inspired to do so. Vote for what? They haven't been told or engaged by a candidate that resonated with them that they wanted to vote. And so I believe a lot of people, I know, Kyle, one of our village mayors right here in the Glen Park neighborhood, he said, dude, and he's a real big guy, he looked down on me, he said, dude, I'm going to tell you, I haven't voted ever, man, but I'm voting this time. And the reason he was doing it because he saw what I'm offering, he see what I'm doing, and he's inspired to do it. And he's a 30-year-old young man who just said he never voted.
Syron Smith, do you really know, this is my opinion, though, I think Gary's at the tipping point,
Yes.
like the precipice. I got to look at that fancy word.
Yeah.
They at the edge, if you will. That it can go forward. When I mean go backward, Gary can go forward. It can go really backward and empty out, and City of Gary would have to be taken over by the governor or the Lake County people.
Tipping point is the perfect terminology to use for this. Here's what we have at stake. Right now, we are losing people every single day because of someone's loved one being murdered. Right now, since 2012, when the current incumbent got in office, 193 families have mourned the loss of their loved ones to homicides right here. 193 families hurting because of murder. And that's one thing. We have all 10,000 abandoned buildings here. Each abandoned building provides an opportunity for a rapist, sex offender, someone to go in there and commit crime again. So people don't want to live around places where they're afraid of being murdered, where they're afraid of being pulled into an abandoned building and killed. So we're losing people. Gary's at a tipping point. We have to ask ourselves, the current mayor been in office for 4 years, what has she done? Tearing down a few houses, that's okay. But I have a plan that we're going to make certain. My first 100 days, we're going to know who owns every single parcel of land. All this vacant property, similar to what Chicago does with their ordinance, you have to list the owner, the manager, or the owner of that property and their phone number on the front of the building. If it's a vacant lot, we're going to make sure they put a placard in front of that vacant lot. So we're going to know who's accountable. And we're going to make certain that we have them within 30 days either cut that grass, board up that structure, but we're going to have accountability. And that's just from my naval background. I'm a military man, so structure, order, and discipline is a prerequisite. You just have to have it.
When you become mayor, or if or when you become mayor of Gary, would you consider making it easy for residents from Indiana or Illinois or Michigan or whatever, Wisconsin, to move to Gary to buy homes in Gary? Will it make it easier for us to move to Gary and buy these homes in Gary and rehab them, and we can live here at a very affordable rate?
The best thing about Gary, the best thing is its people. So that's number one. The second best thing is affordability. So I'm going to tell you right now, people that have investment money, this is the place to be. Gary, the structure is 57 square miles long. Hammond, which is just west of us, east of us here, is 24 square miles. So we're double Hammond, but we got the exact same population, 79,000 people. So that means that Hammond can get away with a more dense population, and Gary is sparse, it's spread out. But what that means is if you have money to invest, that means you can invest in the area. There's so much capacity here to build. So I envision a Navy Pier down here for Gary, Indiana, similar to what we have, which is the #1 tourist attraction.
Talking about Chicago,
Illinois.
Navy Pier?
Yeah.
You're going to build like a Navy Pier of Gary?
I'm going to work with the people here and the investors and the people that want to sow seeds into Gary so we can have that recreation. What my point is, the lakefront is beautiful, and we got to capitalize on that. We have, of course, the Michael Jackson childhood home here, and I know people are tired of hearing about that they haven't come to fruition, but it all comes back to leadership. With the right leadership, I believe the Jackson family will easily come on board and help build this complex that will just have people traveling to America just to come here so that they can see his childhood home. So tourism, vacation homes, we have it in the Miller neighborhood. You can rent vacation homes and whatnot, but I believe instead of paying high hotel rates in downtown Chicago, people all over the world should buy property here so that it can be their summer home or their winter home, and they don't have to pay for the hotels. I know the hotels in Chicago are not going to like that, but own your property here. You're 25 minutes away from downtown Chicago.
Donald Trump came to Gary many years ago, and I was here when he had the Miss America, Miss USA, one of these pageants.
Pageants, right.
And he had the pageant here. It was at the Gary Gary Genesis Center, the Gary Genesis Center.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody had to stay in Maryville or something.
Right.
It wasn't in the hotels.
Right.
Are you going to bring hotels? I know we have a hotel at the casino.
Right.
The hotels off the freeway.
Right.
Are you going to put hotels off the freeway where we could stay in Gary and have a tax base for Gary?
Sure. I've already submitted my proposal to build 5 hotels. The largest hotel in the world right now is in Las Vegas right now, and it holds 7,000 people. So that's huge. That's the largest hotel. We have one in Abu Dhabi, I believe, United Arab Immigrants being built that hold 10,000 guests. So what I'm proposing is that we'll have 612 rooms here during my first term, hotel rooms. Right now, we only have the Majestic Hotel. That's the only hotel in Gary. We have a motel here that you don't want to stay at. But my vision is 5 hotels, one on all 4 parts of town, and an extra one closer to the airport that holds 620 rooms.
I mean, I hope you can bring hotels here because people think Gary tourism, Gary, I want to stay. If Gary changes perception from scary Gary to wow, they got rid of the crime, I can stay here, I can do business in Gary. What about other businesses? If you can reduce the crime, what other businesses come to Gary and create jobs and create businesses and have a better tax base for Gary?
Well, when you say, here's the thing, perception is reality. So Gary has a perception problem. Gary is safer than what the media portrays, all right? So that's one thing why you need a change in leadership. Under my administration, we will have our people, especially our young people, challenging those who want to put this image of Gary being scary Gary out there, because the fact is there are beautiful, beautiful parts of Gary, but just like Chicago, there are parts of Chicago that you got to worry about being murdered in. We had the same thing here, but the whole city shouldn't be painted with that broad stroke. What I've already done is I reached out to Home Depot, I reached out to AMC Theaters, I reached out to Best Western, Drury Lane Hotels, Hyatt Hotels, I reached out to Starbucks, Walmart, and I'm constantly, every Wednesday, Economic Day, I'm reaching out to these companies and I'm asking them, what is the process so that you guys can consider opening a market here? And I'm letting them know that we spend money here. We still have 79,000 people here that go to Hammond and Hobart and spend our money. We would like for you to open up right here inside the city limits of Gary. What I'm telling them, the reason they want to do that is because of the airport, because of our proximity to the lake, and because of the $5 million boot camp that's going to come right here to Gary under my administration.